All right. Welcome to Swissnex San Francisco. My name is Birgit Coleman. I'm heading up the innovation services here at Swissnex San Francisco. And together with my colleague Joya Dorcher, who heads the startup services here, we were lucky to have Turner Media to have the event with us today. Thank you so much for partnering with us on the Turner Media Camp Demo Day. Thank you so much again. Thank you so much also for you guys for coming. Quickly, what is Swissnex? I see many new faces. We are a public-private organization. We connect Switzerland in the fields of higher education, technology, innovation, and social media, art and design for Switzerland to find the next thing, Swiss next, what's next for Switzerland. How do we do it? Through facilitating connections, lining up partnerships for them, having conversations like here in person or online to find out and partner on what's the next thing, what's the innovation. And on that note, on innovation, let's hear what your campers have to say for today.
Thanks, Bridget. We good to go? Okay. Oh, I get to click too. Well, I want to thank you all for coming to our first of hope many Media Camp Demo Days. And very intimate setting, and intimate for a reason, to kind of talk about how our program, the Media Camp Accelerator, is very, very different from others and coexists with a lot of the other ones that you obviously know about and heard about. And we'll kind of go into that a little bit. My name is Balaji Gopinath. I am the VP of Emerging Technology at Turner, and I'm also the head counselor at Media Camp. So we're trying to keep this all in check and keep it moving forward the right way. So when we started this, a lot of people asked us, what, another accelerator? What are you guys doing? And what is it all about? I mean, we started to research. We saw, obviously, there's a lot of technology accelerators out there. And the Y Combinators, the Techstars, the 500 startups, and we think they're all great at teaching really general entrepreneurship and helping people understand how to become entrepreneurs. But that's not what we were about. And we saw some gaps and things evolving on the vertical space in healthcare and packaged goods. But we didn't see anything in media. And we thought for industry of our size, with the complex value chains, the business models, and the money that's out there, there was an opportunity for us to open up something called Media Camp. And we took a different tack. We call ourselves a grad school of accelerator. So if you went to YCOM or 500 or Techstars and you think you have a product or service that adds value to the media space and want to learn about how to actually operationalize that, get charter clients and really understand that and scale your business quickly, we think Media Camp is the right place for a lot of these companies. And we, unlike some of the other vehicles, we don't cast a really wide net. We think intimacy is key to understanding the media space because it is so complex. We probably won't ever have more than 10 companies in our camp at any given time. And that's partly by design because we're very, very hands-on. We have intense sessions on a weekly basis. We've matched our companies to mentors within Turner who understand specific expertise. They can give a lay of the land. They have broad experience and contacts within the media landscape. And we expose the companies in very different ways to how a media company really works. We kind of take them behind the curtain and we show them all the good, bad, ugly of the opportunities that exist within the media space. And in doing so, we also have a parallel effort where we expose them to the brands that we have and allow for really warm intros to happen to get them opportunities to operationalize and get revenue, which is something that most accelerators don't do, and quite frankly, a lot of VCs have a difficult time doing. And this is, again, I think a unique identifier in terms of who we are and what we do and how we coexist. At our heart, we are very innovative focus. If you look at our founder, Ted Turner, he kind of changed the way news is viewed by CNN. He was not afraid to disrupt the existing media landscape and help create the cable industry to some extent. Our hope is in the stuff that we do today as part of MediaCamp and moving forward, that we partner with the ecosystem out there and embrace the change that's happening, and together we help shape what media look like for the next 20 years. And that's kind of the core of how we look at all of this stuff. Is it good for the startup? Is it good for media? And can we collectively find a way to make the change happen? So the opportunity for our startups is to figure out, as we teach them all these things, how they uncover opportunities and use their products and services to service media industry. And I think that's what we're going to hope to show you today. So just to get into it, we'll introduce our MC, Scott Saffron. So Scott, we're lucky to have him. He's a great colleague, been an incredible mentor to a couple of our companies. He's also Executive Vice President of CNN, General Manager of HLN. He's also served as CMO of CNN, as well as SVP of TNT, and helped Turner grow in amazing ways. So with that, I'm just going to turn it over to Scott, and we're just going to kick it off.
Thank you. So I don't know how you MC an event in San Francisco with a bunch of people who are working on the cutting edge of everything. But last night I went to a very cutting edge place in San Francisco, the Tonga Room. This is unbelievable. Last night I kept waking up thinking it was raining around my bed, like sheets of rain. But somebody said, MC it like Clint Eastwood would, and like put an empty chair there. And I was like, I laughed because if you say Clint Eastwood now, everybody laughs. But then I thought, interestingly enough, I said, wow, that might actually be an interesting idea, because if that empty chair would be occupied by Ted Turner. I mean, and I didn't know what Balaji was going to say, and he mentioned Ted, and literally all I was going to point out was, when I heard that Turner, I'm a Turner suit. I'm, part of the old media guard. I don't know an accelerator from an incubator and everything. I use technology. I use it a lot in my business. I work with a lot of technology people, but I'm not a technology expert myself. But when I bumped in, and I do go to South by Southwest, where people think I'm there for the music part. That's some 80s hair band. But I went and I saw the Turner Media folks, and I was the Turner Media Camp folks, and I was totally fascinated. I would have been fascinated no matter what company they were from, but I was doubly fascinated they were from a company I work for, and I hadn't really encountered that before. I had 21 years ago when I joined Turner in 1991, where I felt like I was coming to go and do marketing at TNT, and I really was joining a company that was Ted Turner's company. And I thought of Ted Turner as this fearless guy who was an entrepreneur, but I really thought of him as an inventor, because he was there looking at this landscape and seeing what was missing and figuring out how technology and consumers and content all would work together, and he never looked at it and said, well, I have to go through all sorts of process to figure this out. I'm just going to make it, and I'll worry about all that stuff later. So that sort of renegade philosophy I kind of loved, but as we got to be a bigger company, and probably there's some of you in the room who work at bigger companies, you know that whole process becomes process, and those become big things. And so sometimes all of the creativity and all of the invention and all of the fun becomes sort of bullet points on a chart, part of a PowerPoint, and not necessarily this exuberant, fun, creative, inventive process. So I got this notion that that's probably what they were trying to capture at MediaCamp by hosting and working with these 6 companies. So I instantly said, if I can help in any way, I definitely want to be part of it. And they did hook me up with one of the companies, and I got a chance with Chute, who you'll hear from today, but also I got a chance to meet and be familiar with all of them. I've seen already the value that they've brought to Turner by just having discussions with different people and exposing them to their ideas, which you will all see today. I've also seen very happily the value that the interaction with Turner has brought to these companies too. So I think you'll see evidence of that. The way this is going to be structured is they're going to talk for 10 minutes, and then there will be, I think it's 8 minutes. Is it 8 minutes of 10 minutes. Oh, at 10 minutes of Q&A. Okay, good. Well, I'm sorry. Oh, the presentation is 8 minutes. Oh, my God, I failed the first test of the MC. I didn't know this part.
Presentations.
8 minutes of Q&A, 2 minutes to change over.
Okay, perfect. There will be 3 of them done. Then there's a half-hour break, and then the other 3. So you'll want to see all 6 of them because they are very different businesses from each other. They share creativity and exuberance and a love of technology and how it's going to connect people with things they will love. But they're really different businesses and really different people behind them. So you'll want to see all of them. There are 2 people that we have in the audience that have agreed to serve as sort of panelists, and we will sometimes go to them for some of the questions. But if there's just an avalanche of questions from all of you, they'll just have to fight to ask their question along with all of you. But they are Dietrich von Baeren here, who is the VP of Digital Media and Investing for A&E Television Networks. And I'm very proud of the fact that they invited somebody from basically a competitor to be right here, right center stage, because this is really the spirit of this event. This is for the whole industry, not just a Turner thing for Turner. This is for everybody. And so thank you, Dietrich, for being part of that. And Topher Conway, who's a partner in SV Angel. He looks and examines these kind of companies in this way for a living, so he will undoubtedly have very incisive questions and things to say. So I'm going to start this by turning it over to our very, very first presenter. That's the guys from Switchcam, being represented by Brent Welch. I'm going to take a seat.
Hello.
Can I have one of these that works?
Hello.
All right, awesome. So I'm going to pick this up and hold it, and if it breaks, I'll give you guys permission to yell at me, tell me that my slide's not working. And she's got a timer. Cool. Awesome. Guys, I just want to start by saying how excited I am to be at the first Media Camp Demo Day. It's been an amazing experience for all of us. Startups, we've met some great people. And it reminds me a little bit of my favorite story, which is The Lord of the Rings. Now, they do look a little bit different than the original cast of characters, but they are heroes to us nonetheless. So I want to have a round of applause for the Media Camp folks for putting us on. Okay, so let's get started. Intros first. My name's Brett. In a past life, I co-founded a company called Goodberry. It was acquired by Adobe in 2009 and now lives on as Business Catalyst in CS6, which is great. My co-founder over here is the smartest guy I know, and he's built everything from sonar systems all the way through to index arbitrage systems, so if it's cool, he's probably built it. And we've joined forces to create Switchcam. Now, Switchcam's mission is really to turn the world into your camera crew. We want to enable an organization to collect footage from their friends, their family, their followers, their fans, and then organize it really simply and then publish it to an interactive player. Now, the best way to understand this is probably to simply show you. So we could be talking about footage from a wedding, something touching and vows, or we could be talking about a 60,000 person dance event in the heart of Brazil. We could be talking about some kids at a skate park, recording some cool tricks. Or they could be those same kids hitting the slopes and getting some mad air. We could be talking about a concert recorded from professional camera angles and put together, or we could be talking about something recorded completely by fans in the front row and the back row. Now, the genesis of Switchcam really started when I was a kid, and my dad used to take me to the cinema. Now, he worked at the cinema, so he'd take me with him and plonk me in the cinema for the day and let me watch movies, which I thought was great at the time, and it turns out that he thought it was great too. Now, that really gave me a love for storytelling, and that continues to today, except my summers are a little different. Now I'm going to concerts and live music, and I'm recording video at those concerts. Now, everyone around me is doing exactly the same, and if you slice that type of content out, that's about 10 billion views every year just of amateur concert footage. So this is definitely happening. Now, the problem with this, of course, is, as the grumpy old man would say, who owns the rights? It's a really good, valuable question to ask, because we want the content owners to get paid. But the problem is that you've got a room full of people in the world's largest sports organization chasing down this kind of content and taking it down. But they're fighting a losing battle, because we're going from cameras that look like this on your shoulder to cameras that fit in your bag, to cameras that are melded with a device you never want to leave your hand, to cameras that we're going to wear, Sorry, I mean this guy. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't want to be going to the Super Bowl and lining up and then going through a TSA-style investigation to see whether I have any cameras on my person. We need to come up with something better. We need to figure out a way to move with this trend rather than fight against it. And that's what Switchcam's all about. So we went to Grumpy Old Man and we said, look, what do we need? And he told us what he needs. He said, we need to be able to control the content capture. We need to be able to curate the content ourselves, choose the good bits and the bad bits. And we need to be able to schedule it. We need to choose when it goes out and to respect the windows of the people we've sold rights to. And then finally, we need to monetize it ourselves. We want to sell the sponsorships and ads ourselves on that content. So we said, okay, and we created Switchcam. So Switchcam allows you to schedule an event in the future. Now this is, we're going to use music as an example today. Once you've scheduled that event, you get a link that you can share with your fans or your followers or your friends. They can then join the camera crew. When they join the camera crew, they get a link to upload their own footage, or they can also download our app to make it really super easy. If you're a fan, you can follow along just by following, and then we'll notify you when the content starts to come live. When they're at the show, they get a push notification that says, hey, it's time to record. They pull out their camera and they start recording the content. Now on the back end, that's where the Switchcam magic is really happening. We're taking hundreds of videos from all those people in the crowd, and we're automatically sequencing and synchronizing it together purely by analyzing the content. We then put it all together, and then you can see those videos coming through, and you can see them, curate them, choose what you want in and out, and then when you're ready, publish it across multiple platforms. Now the question that this begs, of course, is how do you put all this together? We've sequenced it and synchronized it, sure, but how do you choose what to actually watch? And the answer to that goes back again to my favorite device as a kid. Now, who had a Game Boy growing up? Whose kid has a Game Boy? No one? I guess Nintendo's kind of dying. So, you know, kids are growing up with interactivity. They're touching screens. They're talking to televisions. I mean, I can tell my Xbox to pause. It's so cool. You know, we thought, why don't we harness this interactivity and make it something that and put users truly in control of the content, allow them to be the editor, allow them to choose exactly how they want to watch this content. And so, but unlike other previous attempts at multi-camera, we wanted to make sure that it was instant. We wanted to make sure that it was intuitive to use, and overall that it was interactive. And this is what it looked like. A song you've probably never heard before. You aren't going to hear it, this is maybe a good thing. So you can see the camera switching is instant. We're moving between different perspectives in the crowd. And we can actually see, and most of all, this is real fun. It's fun to sit there, rewatch it from multiple different perspectives. And so we benchmarked this against YouTube, and we found that we had 20% longer engagement than YouTube's traditional content. So we thought, hey, it looks like we're onto something. We took this to Anheuser-Busch, the world's largest beverage company, and they introduced us to Brazil's favorite beer, which is Skol. We went down to Brazil, and we went to they had this massive dance event. It's called Skol Sensation. And they synchronize, and then it's kind of like Cirque du Soleil meets a rave. So there's 60,000 people there. And they've got professional camera angles, and we decided we would meld those professional camera angles with the footage coming from the crowd. And we created this branded interactive experience, and we embedded it on their website. The results were absolutely stellar. So we saw a 4 times increase in the amount of sharing of that content because of its interactivity. And we also saw a 68% increase in the time spent watching across their entire site. So this is exactly what the advertisers wanted to hear, right? More time spent, more engagement equals more money. And so we figure we're off to the races. So we went back to Grumpy Old Man, and we said, look, we've got the capture, we've got the curation, and we've got the scheduling and the monetization, but we also have deeper and longer engagement than you had before. And so Grumpy Media Man turned quite happy, and off we go. So Switchcam is really, there's 3 parts to the Switchcam platform. The core piece is the video capture, the crowdsourcing. Now, we've had some really strong interest again from Anheuser-Busch, Live Nation, and Tiesto, the world's #1 DJ, to use that to collect footage from their fans. On the other side, you've got an interactive video player. Now, this creates great engagement for professional feeds as well, and we can plug in feeds from anyone's footage and create an interactive experience out of it. And we've had some great talks with through Turner and through MediaCamp. We've met with True TV, the NBA, and Access TV about deploying this technology for their professional content. Now, the way we charge for this is we have a monthly subscription for campaigns, for integrations, or we have a once-off fee for campaigns. And of course, right now, that's a bespoke price, depending on how we implement it. We're lucky to be backed by a great team of investors. We've raised $1.2 million from Mark Cuban, Media Camp, of course, and also from 500 startups. So we're not really here today to raise money. Instead, we'd like to meet some great customers, talk to you about how we can address your pain points. And we'd also like to meet some investors who might be interested in participating in our Series A. And in particular, we're looking for people who can share the same vision as us for the future of video. The last 112 years of video have been about linear video, been about watching from point A to B. And it's been a fantastic 112 years. There's so many movies that are just amazing. But now the whole world is a camera crew. And we have the opportunity to use devices like iPads and iPhones and create something so much more than just surveys and so much more than just extra ads and social streams. I see a future where we could be sitting around a television and arguing over a close call in the basketball by remixing highlights on the fly on our iPads. That's the kind of future that Switchcam believes in. We wonder what this little kid's going to see when she grows up. She was born practically with an iPad in her hand. What is she going to be expecting from the media world? What kind of video experiences is she going to want to have? And so at Switchcam, we know what the last 112 years have had for video. And we're building the platform in the future for what the next 112 years of interactive video could be. Thanks so much for your time today, and I'd love to hear your questions. Ryan.
Yeah, Brett, first of all, that's amazing. Like, I saw this thing when it first came out, and like, and just how far you've come is amazing. Question about the apps and actually, recording the video. You talked about handing out about people downloading apps and getting notifications. Is that going to be a single Switchcam app that will just have different events loaded into it, or are you talking about branded apps for each one?
So the question, it's a good question. So we're actually it's a white label platform, right? So we want to create a component that people can embed in their own apps. We will have a reference app that we use, and I think especially for indie artists, for example, don't have a whole bunch of money. So telling them to use our Switchcam app, download that, and we can notify you of events using that app will make a lot of sense for those guys. So I think we're going to create a reference app, but the primary business driver will be embedding that technology in other apps.
Very impressive.
Thank you.
So one of the things that you said right in the beginning was rights, grumpy old man on the rights, and that's something certainly I think that as media companies we're always dealing with and looking at first and foremost. The application for this it's clear for like sporting events and music. And in fact, one of the things that I was wondering is, usually when you go into those events, they don't want you to bring cameras, don't want you to bring the phones.
Yep.
So I mean, in many ways, you're changing the dynamic, right? You're working with these partnerships to create a new habit, right? That's
right. Well, not so much to create a new habit, but to enable the people who own that content to leverage an existing habit. I think the problem right now is, as I mentioned, a team of people in a room fighting this kind of content, or artists who have to hire somebody to take the videos down from YouTube. They're doing that because they can't monetize that content themselves. Like the real value for a musician, for example, is selling a sponsorship against that content, and YouTube won't let you do that. So or they will sell it themselves and give you a cut, and they'll buy you the rights from you. So if you want to own the upside, like companies like Turner want to, then you need to host that content or at least manage that yourself. And so it's really about taking that process in hand and then guiding people through it in a way that will probably increase the amount of footage that's available, but also increase the monetization opportunities that are there for that footage.
And just very quick follow-up, do you have any ideas of applying this for programming? Because like I said, it's for music and sports, it seems
sure.
a no-brainer, but for programming.
Do you mean in terms of content creation?
Correct.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to get a little bit futuristic for a second, but have you The Dark Knight Rises? You've seen this movie? It's a fantastic movie, right? And there's some of the scenes that are recorded in IMAX. And I remember when the first time I saw IMAX, like I was sitting in the thing and everyone thought I was weird because I was like trying to duck things as they were kind of coming at you in the screen. I think that multi-camera hasn't been done right. People have not been thinking of it as a production tool. I think if you say to a director, we've got multiple camera angles. We've got the tools, your Google Glasses. Every person in a cinema can have their own interactive experience overlaid on top of the screen. How would you create content knowing that there may be multiple camera angles along the way? And then I think it starts to become like an IMAX experience. It's like we're all going to sit there and have our own little experience of this cool moment in the movie, and then we step back and we enjoy the rest together. So I think in the long term, absolutely it'll be part of it, but I think it needs to be part of the production process, and I think it needs to be thought about from a creative standpoint rather than just like, oh, look, there's a camera here and a camera there, let's switch. It's like, no, how do you tell the story in a really different way from multiple perspectives that is going to engage people more effectively?
I'll just point out that the other category that the natural fit is news events. Like the inauguration, I remember what we did is we did a similar kind of thing, but we did it with all still photography, which is not the same as what this would have been.
Yeah, news is a really good example, and I think the way we're going with our technology isn't to bind it to our app. We don't want it to be just about our app. That's why we're happy to white label it and all that kind of thing. And I'm talking with existing app creators about integrating Switchcam with their app, because ultimately, as long as we can control the content flow, then we're good. So whether it's our app or other people's apps doesn't matter. And that means too that we need to have technology that can stitch together footage from from cameras that we don't know whether they're going to have good metadata or bad. So that's why news is an excellent opportunity for us to bring some content together from the real headline events.
Over here, Brent.
Yeah, one question.
Sure.
Thanks, great presentation. Ben
Thank you.
from Bootstrap Lab. You're turning everybody going to concert or sport event into your camera crew. So are you thinking about incentivize those guys with fame, money, something associated with the fact that it actually help you make an entertainment product?
Yeah, so there's a lot of research that shows that when you throw money into the mix, it changes people's behavior. So I don't think we want to make it about money. I think what we want to make it about is passion. So if you're a sports fan or if you're a fan of a musician, you get a free download. You can access a track that hasn't been released if you're part of the camera crew. Or if you're a sports fan, you might get extra angles that are premium. I think there's a lot of different ways you could take this that reward people for being a part of the camera crew without having to bring money into it. But yeah, I do think there should be incentives, and some people will use those to great effect as part of the whole marketing campaign around it. Yeah, exactly. Okay, Kevin from Comcast NBC. I can repeat.
I'll speak loud enough to have it. Can you talk a little bit about how this could work with live and in real time versus, I see how it works for,
Sure.
but like news is a great example, or let's say the Christmas tree lighting at NBC, right?
Got it.
How does it work that way? So it'll give you some interesting.
So Kevin's asking about live applications of the software. So live is super exciting. I can't wait till we get to live. I think there's 2 points in there. I think one is post-event has been ignored for a very long time, and because there are greater opportunities in live. But I think that there's so much more we can do that makes watching an event after the event more exciting. And I think having interactive features is a step in that direction. So I think we can actually make that pie bigger by making the post-event more interesting, more engaging. The second thing is actually about live. So live, the main limiter right now is bandwidth. When we're talking to partners about stadiums, a lot of the time people are installing Wi-Fi in the stadiums. And when you have Wi-Fi at scale, which is still hard to get even today, when you have 60,000 people in one location on a Wi-Fi network, it's hard to do. But when we get there, I think we can start to do some really, really cool things with live. And we've definitely been talking to some partners about, again, down the track, how we can have a live switched experience where you can actually go navigate through the crowd and see things from different perspectives. So live is a massive opportunity, and I can't wait for us to get there, but I think we're going to baby steps.
We have time for one more question. Yep. Yeah. Thank you.
So my question is really about quality. So if you think about the earlier question around how do you incent people, so 2 things. From a technology perspective, do you have a way to normalize things like audio quality from one person's crappy audio to another person's great audio? Do you have a way to normalize that so that the overall experience is great? Second sort of related question is, do you have a way to incent people to contribute higher quality material, like some sort of reputation system?
Sure. So yes and yes. The first question, in regards to audio, we automatically audio level all the audio now, and that's great. I think over time we want to be able to improve the audio as well and potentially put together audio tracks of different videos so that you can get a better experience when you're watching, or even just overlay it with a professional recording of the video if it's an artist or if it's a team, where the music's important or the sound's important. And in terms of incentivizing for quality, the main thing there, I think it's a little bit like, look, Mum, I'm on TV. People want to be on television. I think that people will also want to be a part of the creation of television content. And so if you, simply by saying the best videos get included, you incentivize that behavior naturally. So I think that's how we would start. Of course, you can do gamification. You can have the top videos, the top videographers by number of videos submitted or by best video as voted by fans. All those things can do that. And one of the things you couldn't see quite clearly in the demo is we had voting per camera angle. So for every camera angle, you can upvote and downvote. And one of the features we're releasing soon, when you downvote, that camera angle will fall away and you'll see a new one. So what that then means is that the users are choosing exactly how they want to see it and they're editing it on the fly. And those points or those upvotes and downvotes can flow back to the camera crew. And you can then sort of have leaderboards and gamify it that way. So we're definitely thinking about that for sure. Okay, thank you very much.
Great job. Okay, as we get ready for the 2-minute switch up, the group you're going to hear from next is Matcha. It is pronounced Matcha, right, and not Matcha? I just want to get that right. But Guy Picars is going to do that.
First of all, thank you, Brett, for thanking MediaCamp on our behalf. That was a great slide, great talk. So Ilan will help me here. He's my co-founder, and I'll just talk. He'll drive the slides for me. Let's start. So we're watching about 5 hours of video every day. And this is a lot. It's probably about 1/3 of the time we're awake. It used to be very simple. We would turn on the TV, have 5 channels, boom, just watch it. Nothing complicated. Since then, fast forward 40 years, we have about 200,000 options to watch at any given moment. That's a lot. Now, options are great, but how do we decide what to watch? So we've been working in the last 24 months here at Matcha, figuring out how do we crack this nut? How do we really create an experience that helps consumers find what they want to watch? We realized there are about 4 principles that are really important here. One is aggregation. You want to get all the content available out there aggregated into one search and discovery experience. The second one is there's a lot of supporting data out there that you can use to make a decision. If it's IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes, social data, anything that you can really help you make a decision, you want to bring it in. And then you need to package it in a way that consumers can digest. Otherwise, it'll be too hard. And obviously, eventually, personalization is very important. People want to feel connected to this tool. And now let's take you guys. It's the first time we're doing a live demo on a MediaCamp, so we'll hope it's going to work. Let's see how we applied all these principles in our solution. Starting with the user interface, we try to keep things very simple and flat and make sure that consumers can find stuff to watch with one click. Just start, boom, and watch. Nothing fancy, being very media-centric and very easy to use. This experience aggregates now 200,000 options. As you start your journey with this, you can decide which services you want this to include. So you can go down in the filters here and select which services you want it. And once you select, the whole experience is customized for you, and you'll get only what you've asked for. Let's drill down into one of the first items here, The Gray. It's a movie by with Liam Neeson. So I want to show you how we actually created an experience that integrates all the supporting data you need to make a decision. We go beyond this title and genre. We bring you critics' review, IMDb, Rotten Tomato. If you want, you can drill down further and just see how this page looks like on the IMDb site, within our app, or the same thing with Rotten Tomato. We even bring you the social buzz. How many people are talking about this on Facebook at the moment? And you can join the discussion with one tap. Moving on, we'll show you where you can watch it. So with one click, we deep link into other apps, and you can start watching it from here, whether it's a subscription service, whether it's a pay-per-view rental. Moving on, cast and crew. I really like Liam Neeson. Let's see what else any other movies he's in. You just tap on that. We'll see all the related movies that Liam Neeson is part of. Let's go back. And then we also integrate your friends. So all your friends who watched it, didn't like it, liked it, cued it, anything around that, we'll bring it into you, help you make a decision. Last but not least, all the related movies. So everything that, if you like this movie, you have more movies related to that you can find on all the services. Let's go back. So now it's great. We have 200,000 options with a lot of supporting data, but still, how do you decide what to watch? So we've been doing a lot of research and learning and figuring out how do consumers want to discover content. We ended up having about 4 to 5 different avenues that really matter for people. Hot and new are 2 very popular feeds. On the hottest, we'll bring you all the hot movies, in this case, it's also for TV shows, that are at the moment. We collect signals from Netflix, from Facebook, from Hulu, from iTunes Chart, from internal, and we compile this list. If you look at the gray, for example, it was released yesterday by Netflix for streaming. It's already now in the top charts on the hottest. We compile this list every hour. On the newly available, we'll bring you just a rundown of all the great stuff being released by the different services that you follow and you care about, just by date. These 2 feeds are great, but they're generic and they're public. So we decided to add some more personalization, which is really important. Starting with friends, we'll give you just a feed, a very straightforward feed of all the stuff your friends have been watching and rating and liking. It's a good feed for people who have friends they can trust. Now, if you go to moving on from this, we realized that there got to be a good recommendation engine for media discovery. And we asked many people, we did a lot of research, and we tried ourselves. Some people say social is the best way, others would say the algorithmic approach is the right way. We said, why don't we just marry both? So we took actually both concepts, put them all together in a proprietary recommendation engine where we create predictions for every consumer, every user, based on your taste profile. So once we collect your taste profile, we'll match you with people that have the same taste, whether they're your friends or not your friends. If you have no friends, we'll match you with people you don't know, but still have the same taste like you. Let's move to TV shows. TV shows are a bit different than movies. With movies, I need to discover a movie again and again every time, but with TV shows, I follow 10, 20, 30 TV shows at a time, and I have a really hard time figuring out where I stop watching, when there's a new season available, or when there's a new episode. So we create this list for you, we compile that, you can always add more and delete. As you can see, my favorite show is Pretty Little Liars. I'm a very deep person, and no offense on the network. I have 4 more unwatched episodes. We always tell you how many unwatched episodes you have. It's almost like your DVR in the cloud, but since I already sold on this TV show, I don't care about all the other metadata. I just want to go and watch my next episode. So always tell you where your next episode is. You won't never miss an episode with this. Now, if you're really into tuning in live, we'll give you all the data about the live date. So we'll give you the live date, network, and we'll also send you a reminder. So you get a notification before it airs. If you miss that, you can watch it on demand. That's all great. Now, if that's not enough for you, we also have the universal search. So if someone was wondering what Clint Eastwood did before he went into politics, we can see that he was pretty active in Hollywood, and you can see all the movies and TV shows he'd been part of. And we just search by Clint Eastwood, and you can see the whole list here. If you drill down, you'll see all the data related to that. Let's talk about the technology for a second. We put a lot of emphasis on personalization, and we have a few capabilities related to that, and that's a big thing for us and a big theme. Continue to personalize the experience because we believe that's the way eventually media will be consumed and discovered. Just in terms of a little bit up on the back end, we build an API first. So this API, the experience you saw now is based on the API we have, and this API will give us a lot of flexibility to power more services, work with partners, I'll talk about this in a second. On the front end, we did a lot of work with HTML5, and we combined this with native to create a good experience, but also help us really move fast to more platforms. As we worked through this process, spending time with Turner and also spending time with Media Camp and just all the process we went through, we realized there's a lot of great content that is not being discovered. And we realized, hey, how can we help? What can we do to help discover more niche content? So creating what we call this niche, this featured feed, Turner Classics. Anyone who really likes this genre, we brought you all the Turner Classics here in this one feed. And we were actually surprised to see that many of them are really very popular. You can see that American in Paris, 1,000 people are talking about it now in Facebook. So, but there's no really good ways to discover it. So adding these capabilities of featured feeds will help us also drive more innovation, more creativity into this space. Let's look at the TV shows. We've also added we're experimenting with all kinds of other things, and now it's fall season. So we have here the fall premiere. Just give you all the tune-in information. You can see that tonight, what's premiering tonight? The New Normal. So that's an NBC show. We got free advertisement, but today at 9:30 you can go in and tune in. We have a great team together. The team has a lot of experience with tech and media. And I just wanted to end up with a couple announcements we're very excited about. We've just released a new version of our iPad. It's available in the store as of today. We added a few partnerships, HBO Go, Max Go, True TV, and we add more and more Turner content and more Turner as we continue. So I ask all of you, just go download the app, give us some feedback, and let us know what you think. The second thing is the API. We're releasing now the API for the public, and we start working with partners. So our API, the whole capabilities of search and discovery, will power now more experiences, both on the media and expanding beyond TV shows and movies. That's it. Thank you very much.
Questions? Yeah. Get to ask the first question again.
So I have a question. It has a lot of information, right? And I'm wondering, between the Rotten Tomatoes ratings and the IMDb ratings and all of the cast and crew information and all of that, what sort of proof do you have that anyone even cares about that, right? So I mean, it seems like I just care about being recommended really cool movies, and like all of that could be done but transparently.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to bring up the screen. So the supporting data is all, you can just scroll and get whatever you really care about. If you don't really need that.
I mean, like on the movie page,
Yeah.
jump to
Yeah.
if you could just click into any title.
Yeah.
Like all that stuff, like the reviews, Facebook stuff, like I just really care about, whether or not I like it and where I can watch it. Are people actually clicking through to that stuff?
Yeah, so first of all, we released the click-through, so we can't really give you an answer about how many are clicking through. Okay. But we know that people really care about it, and many people are just looking by that, and they want to know, this is for me a good reference point, should I actually bother or not? So we realized that just different people care about different things, and you can't really know what really they care about. So we try to keep it clean and not too much overwhelming. If people really want to drill down, they can always drill down, but we give them the options to collect all these links into one interface.
And one more question. Can you choose like which things you get shown, like which services?
Yeah, so on the top here, you can just, let's say I'm only interested in Netflix and HBO. Everything will be around HBO and Netflix here. Okay. You can either need available. You can also say like genres and years. So you can customize this, and it'll be just a global customized filter thing.
Questions? Where to go? There, and then we'll go.
Yeah, I'm always interested in the plumbing. There's a lot of data that's pulled together here. How do you actually pull it together, match it, augment it, different sources, make sure you're not putting the wrong review up against the wrong movie, things like that?
Yeah, so first of all, a lot of the work and the heavy lifting done with my co-founder, Ilan, and we've been spending about 24 months on that. Initially, we thought the whole plumbing thing in terms of aggregation was not a big deal, but we realized that's a really big undertaking just to get everything clean and unified. And as we continue to work on that, we just add more layers and more layers. So we built many, many layers to make sure that we get quality in place, and we work really well with all the APIs of different providers. And yeah, that's a big undertaking and a lot of work on the back end. And then creating these recommendations and making it scalable. So absolutely, there's a lot of complexity, and we try to hide the complexity here with the interface from the users.
Hello. Hi, Mike, Rocket Space. So question would be around social. So when you drill down the movie, you can see what your friends have watched. Can you just talk a little about the social component of the app?
Yeah, so we're collecting activities of your friends. Once you link with Facebook, we'll look into all your friends. So we'll bring and import all friends' likes from Facebook and apply this on the catalog. But if your friends even are part of Matcha and they link their own services, we'll look in their history and we'll match their history into you as your friends, and we'll be able to present that data.
Can you hide it? Like if I watch something that
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could do that too. Yeah, you can also play with the settings and not show anything, and you can just, some people just want to get and not give, so you can just read, see the rest, but give nothing. I mean, you can do whatever you want here. You can also remove stuff from your history and play around with that. But the idea is just openness and being able to share, and also sense of serendipity when it's relevant.
Yeah. So I love the experience, and I don't have an iPad, but I have a laptop.
Okay.
It's a really small laptop. How could I get this this great content onto like my flat screen at home? What would you recommend to someone who wants to do that?
Yeah. So we have a previous web version for this. Doesn't look the same. This version, as we build this in HTML5, it will be on the web within a month. So you can always just log in with your browser. Just like I do. I have a Mac Mini in my living room. I connect to the big screen. That's how I get it. And eventually, this will be on smart TVs on different devices. So we want to be everywhere that you can consume from. But even if initially it's not there, you can use this more as a guide and then tune in however you can tune in.
Pass that up. Any other questions? Topher.
First of all, great job. So one of the challenges of being an aggregator is engagement. And what's to keep users from going directly to the sites that they're already used to going directly to Hulu, going direct to Amazon? How do you guys become that default go-to app for video?
So it's a good question. I think it's a natural question you would think. So I think the key is, first of all, you can go to all the apps have their own content, and just hopping between apps, getting used to their different interfaces, having different recommendation engines, keeping you attached to that app. We believe that in this case, as we aggregate everything, give you a lot of unbiased information, and we're organizing it in a way that really matters to the user, less to the app itself that provided that. We think that we can create a better experience, and also just the different discovery avenues we're adding here, which are really user-centric. So we think that by using this, it will help you discover, and our goal is to push you as fast as possible to watch, even though it's kind of against engagement. But I think there's a big company in Mountain View that built a good business around that, certainly push you to the destination. So I think if we would do a good job on this vertical, there can be a lot of still engagement and a good business model around that.
I think we have time for one more question, unless you're real fast. Go for it.
Can you talk a little bit about the recommendation engine and how it works? As we saw with Netflix, it's really hard to have an impact on a recommendation engine. And just wondering how you get from, I think it's fairly easy to get the 1 through 100 on the best things, but from that 100 to 500 in terms of figuring out the more niche content that people would be interested in.
Yeah, so it's a tough problem to solve, obviously, and I think one of the things we were looking at initially, Netflix didn't have friends. Well, actually, they had a friend feature. We thought that was a good concept, but it didn't really work that well. So the way we mash up social with algorithms, we think it's a good way to give you coverage across the board. So we will identify your taste, and based on your taste, we'll match you up with people with the same taste. But we'll also give your friends some priority. And if your friends really have good taste and you can trust them, their recommendations will surface to the top of your list. But if they're not, we will figure this out over time, and we'll take the recommendations, downgrade them. So we're trying to really mash these both worlds in a way that is optimized for media discovery. Now, if you want more details, I'll probably need to kill you.
Yeah, I think that Twitter could be an interesting place to pull information from, because it's maybe Twitter's more based around interests than Facebook.
Yeah, I think on Twitter, I think it's more sporadic. It's we looked into Twitter a lot. We're still not sure how to really use it and apply it, but there are probably some ways we can look in the future.
Thank you.
Okay, that's what we have time for. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good job. Just as we're switching over, I will tell you, full disclosure, I came to Turner because I wanted to make movie posters. And I didn't know that Ted wanted to make Bible movies. and Westerns and Civil War movies. So that's all I did. I made 110 Civil War movie posters. But what I will love, the only reason I share that, aside from vamping, is that I love the fact that that interface is based on the posters. I think you would sell so many people on exploring some of these other movies that they had never heard of just by the poster. I mean, it's great. It like harkens back to why you used to go into a theater. They only used to market movies in the cinema with the posters. So anyway, that's great. So next we're going to hear from SocialSamba, and Aaron Williams is going to be talking to us. Great job.
Thanks, everybody. Wow, it's loud. I'm Aaron Williams. I'm CEO of SocialSamba, and I'm a two-time startup CEO bridging technology and entertainment. Also have a master's degree in computer science. I used to write code way back when. I'm here with my co-founder, Matthew Schiltz. He's a serial CTO, had previous companies sold to VeriSign, also raised a round from Kleiner at one point. So really happy to be here also with Kirk, our lead designer. So anyway, you can find all three of us during the break if you want some more information. SocialSamba is social storytelling, and what that means is we enable fans to friend the characters they love and participate in their lives. And by doing that, what we do is create deep engagement between those characters and those fans. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit more about what that means in a second, but what we mean by deep engagement is 10 minutes per visit. We get fans coming back 3 times to engage with these characters. We've got some great customers that we're working with now. So MTV, Warner Brothers, USA have all used our product to create these kinds of experiences, these social stories with their fans. And we were nominated for an Emmy Award this year. We'll know on Saturday if we won or not, so keep your fingers crossed for us. But we're really excited about sort of where we are in terms of having traction and being able now to sort of scale this up. So let's start at the top, though. What is social storytelling? Well, imagine your Uncle Joe was actually James Bond. And so instead of being friended to your Uncle Joe on Facebook, you could be friended to James Bond. And instead of getting the pictures of your uncle's dandelion salad from lunch or your friend's political rant, imagine instead you could get a story told from Geneva or Rio. Okay. Let's try that again. No dandy. Okay. I'm learning the technology. Okay, great. So imagine James Bond is coming to you and telling you about his trip to Geneva or his trip to Rio, sending you posts and comments and images and videos and really engaging you very deeply in his experience. But imagine it's not just him telling you a story, but it's him engaging you in a story. So he's coming to you and asking, hey, should I go to Geneva or should I go to Rio to track down these terrorists? And what if he called you by name? It's that kind of a deep engagement and that kind of deep storytelling that our platform enables. And what it feels like is a sort of choose-your-own-adventure experience. And from a fan perspective, this gives them the ability to see these characters in a whole new light and gives them the ability to have that connection that they've been looking for all along. Problem is, today's platforms don't do it. If you look at Facebook and Twitter, if you wanted to go follow Darth Vader on Twitter, feel free, he's hilarious, surprisingly. You could be one of 400,000 people following Darth Vader, right? And that's all well and good, but that doesn't give you a connection to Darth Vader. I'm not invested in Darth Vader if I'm one of 400,000. And if he tweets at 7 p.m. on a Tuesday and I'm not online between 7 and 7:05, forget about it. I've lost that content. So most of this great content is getting lost in the fire hose of social. So what do you need? Well, what that does is it creates this sort of shallow, real-time engagement. These fans become voyeurs of Darth Vader. They don't really become participants in his life. What you need is a deep anytime engagement. We need to be able to take these characters and turn them into participations where you can come in and experience them anytime. And our platform does that through scripting. So we take this entire experience with James, all the posts and comments, images and videos, everything it takes to tell a great story. We script it all out once, and we play it back for each fan whenever they want it. And by having that kind of a scripted experience, we get this kind of deep engagement, and the fan can experience it anytime. And our secret weapon is actually fan fiction. Because imagine not just being able to experience James's life, but to be able to actually create your own story with James Bond as a character. And our platform really enables that depth of connection and that kind of an experience. I'm really happy to be able to show off for the first time today a preview of a new production that we're working on with Turner, and this is why we were so excited to be part of Media Camp and to be able to participate. This is for their TV show Falling Skies. Anybody in here a huge Falling Skies fan? Sci-fi fans at least, maybe a few? So Falling Skies is their show about what would happen if there was an alien invasion, right? And you are part of the sort of crew that's sort of fighting against these aliens that have come down. Now there's a lot of mystery in the story too, though. You don't really know where the aliens came from. You don't really know what their deal is. So in our experience, though, when you come in to join local resistance, you friend the characters from the show, and you join their fight against these aliens. And you can see, they call you by name. They share their pictures and images and videos, their likes and links, everything with you to create that deep experience. But it looks and feels just like a social network. We're not doing anything in that realm that is groundbreaking. The experience you get is something you're very familiar with. It's participating in a social network. And as I said before, the characters will come to you and ask you very direct questions, right? This is that choose your own adventure moment. Character asks me, what should we do next? I get to say, hey, let's go this way. Hey, let's go that way. Also, the characters know a lot about you because we know your Facebook profile. So we can actually tune the story, not just based on the way you answer, but also based on what we know about you as a fan or as a participant. And it's not just available on Facebook. We can do this on mobile. This app is running today in a preview mode. If you come see one of us, you can just zap a QR code and actually try it on your phone. So you can help out with the local resistance. And I expect all of you to raise your hand about Falling Skies to come see us. So it's a lot of fun, though. And I think for fans, it gives them that kind of an experience that they've been looking for out of social. If you go look at the Facebook fan pages for these television programs and other kind of entertainment programs, they're really missing this kind of an engagement. They're missing the opportunity to bring the fans closer to the characters and stories. And as I said before, what about being able to write the next chapter? And that's why we're so excited about this, what we're doing with Falling Skies and with TNT. Because what's going to happen is the writers of the show are going to create 3 episodes. And during those 3 episodes, what you're going to realize is that somebody in your crew is not who they say they are. Somebody's working for the aliens. And so you got to find out who that is. And there's a cliffhanger at the end of the 3rd episode. Who could it be, right? Then they're going to invite fans to come in and write the 4th episode. Tell the ending of the story, right? And so now not only do you have the quality of those first 3 episodes written by the creators of the show, but now you have quantity as well. You have hundreds of episodes being created by superfans who are going to come and tell you their version of how the story ends. And when you mix that quality of content with the quantity of content, you get super deep engagement. You get fans coming in, watching those 4th episodes, rating them, commenting on them, talking about them, and really have an opportunity then to amplify the experience. This is the tool they'll use to create their 4th episodes. It's called Saga Writer. It's available today for free. If you go to SocialSamba.com, you can tell your great story. I can't wait to see what stories this crowd creates. All you have to do is create your characters over here on the left-hand side, drag and drop them into the middle. This is where you create the script that I talked about before. Add in your images and videos. Put in your branches in the story to make it feel like a choose-your-own adventure. In 5 minutes, you can create a 5-minute story. 1 click to publish it. 1 more click to put it out on your Facebook page. So we have tons of stories, thousands of stories out there today on SocialSamba.com that you can go and experience. And they've been published out to hundreds of Facebook pages where fans are now using this as a way of saying, hey, look what I created. And, as I said before, it's not just characters, of course. It's images, videos, likes, and links. It's everything you expect from a social network. Great video you can go check out that'll show you sort of the features of it and give you a little bit better sense of how Saga Writer is the tool you can use to create these experiences. So where are we at in terms of traction? So as I say, we're at about 280,000 unique monthly visitors right now. This is based on the launch of this fan fiction platform that we created in May. We're actually, that platform itself on SocialSamba.com has doubled every month since we launched it in May. We're really excited about the opportunity there because, like I say, that ability for fans to come in, create content, and then also riff on other people's content has proven to be very effective. Here's some examples of the fan fiction that have been created out on the platform. But like I say, encourage you to go take a look at it for yourself. So here's where we are. We're raising $2.5 million for our Series A. We've raised some notes so far from friends and family. We've got great paying customers. Our business model with those customers is we license our technology platform to them at 10 cents a reader. So again, we're a technology company. We're not an agency that's doing sort of the creative work. They're doing the creative work and using our technology to do it. And with that, I'll open it to questions. Got one?
I'll go.
Okay, thanks.
I'm going to go to you, and then you get.
So I get the idea from the consumer side. So now you sold this to a studio.
Yep.
And so do you have a community manager that's managing the personas and responding to people? Or
Actually, so the way we do it is we script out all the entire experience once. So we work with the writers of the show. Let's take the example of MTV. We did MTV's show for Teen Wolf. We launched it in June. We worked with the writers of the show to create 7 weeks of content. Took them about 7 weeks to produce it. Then when we hit play, then that can play back for each fan whenever they want it. We don't have to touch it after that. Because we have a natural language processor which is listening for the responses from the users and determining how to play your story back for you, how to play my story back for me. So not something that requires any additional work after the creator and the writer of the show has hit play.
So I actually worked on something very similar at a company.
What was it called?
A company called Equal in LA that created Lonely Girl 15.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And so we did something. It was an online show that ran in parallel with the TV show.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that we noticed was that the success of the TV show very much dictated the success of the online portion.
Yep.
So how do you factor that in to your business model?
Well, I mean, I'm happy to say that we've been able to work with great shows so far. So that's, part of why I think we've been so successful. But I think what I'm excited about even more than just working with the shows is the fan fiction side of things, which I think is less dependent, frankly, upon the hit of the show. So for us, if you look at what we've done with the... Let's see if I can actually make it go back. If you look at what we've done on the fan fiction side, the growth of that, being able to double it every month since we launched, that ability for us to have that kind of repeat usage of fans coming back to create more and more content, that's the part that I think I'm most excited about. And while we love working with all the media companies because I think they play a really important, interesting role in the ecosystem, the reality is it is an ecosystem. And so we're going to see most of our growth, I think, from fans coming in and participating and creating these kinds of stories on top of, Falling Skies is a good example.
So I was in LA yesterday.
Yeah.
Among the judges.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did you vote for us? Come on, tell me the truth.
I did.
Okay, thank you.
Because actually, you had a great sizzle reel around the work that you did for Psych.
With USA, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that was
Thank you.
pretty sweet. Just a quick question again, back to rights. The Saga writer.
Yeah.
Okay. That's Fan Tool.
That's right. Yep.
So what about issues of taking clips and?
Yeah. So Saga Writer's DMCA. Right? So in that case, if someone puts something up there and a copyright owner comes to us and says, hey, I need you to take that down, we take it down. No problem. And at the same time, I think our partnership with companies like TNT on something like Falling Skies or our partnership with somebody like MTV on Teen Wolf really changes the dynamic because now we're helping those companies do a better job of engaging those fans. And so it's not sort of about, hey, go do your own thing off in the corner, because the big secret is it's happening already, right? Fanfiction.net and Wattpad and these other companies already have these massive fan fiction communities. And what we want to do is help a company like TNT or help a company like MTV do a better job of engaging that community and actually telling stories together. And I think that co-creation model with Falling Skies is really the future, because then each side of the sort of equation has the right role in that ecosystem. Sorry, you didn't get to be first this time.
It's okay. So, question about cost to the media company.
Yeah.
You talked about 7 extra weeks of work for
That's
the
right.
writers, and how do you justify additional production costs,
Yep.
and how do the media companies measure whether it was a successful campaign or not? Since as he pointed out, the success of these things will probably be determined by the actual success of the show.
Sure. Yeah. So 2 points to that. One is if we have a great Mashable quote from Jesse Redness from USA, and what he says is that they couldn't have bought this kind of engagement with any other platform, because remember, when they pay us 10 cents and when they pay those writers to create 7 weeks of content, what they're getting is on average about an hour's worth of each of those fans' time. And that is invaluable to them in terms of being able to encourage the kind of engagement that they want. Second piece of that, though, is by giving them this great content, fans actually share this out to their friends, and then we have friends of fans coming in to engage as well. So now you've got something that it used to maybe just be for super fans, and now actually includes many more of the fans. And so, you know, when we go to these guys and ask them, hey, you know, how does this impact your business? The quote from MTV was that they brought the Teen Wolf show back for a third season. They ordered more scripted TV from Teen Wolf than they'd ever ordered in their past. And that was partly because our app helped them realize all these super fan 14-year-old girls that they didn't realize they had. They knew they had a lot of fans watching the show, right? But what they didn't realize was how hardcore and how really into the show these fans were. And this story helped them unlock that. And so, like I say, public quote from MTV.
Right, but I'm just saying, you know, if the money that they're making is based on advertising,
yeah,
and those hardcore fans already exist,
yeah,
then you're not driving new viewership to the.
I think we are. I think we're driving friends of fans to come in because we're giving these fans something they want to share back to their friends. 2 shares per story, right? So real content that they're saying back, that they're going back and saying, hey, come check this out, right? And we have a really healthy click-through rate on those shares through the Facebook impressions for fans then, for friends seeing Styles from MTV saying, hey, Aaron couldn't have made it through the night last night without you. Oh my God, how did Aaron get Styles to say that? Boom, I'm gonna click through and see what is going on. So our app really helps to drive that virality. Our referral rate on our app is 33%. So it's a significant amount of traffic coming from referral, not coming from paid ads.
Jason Ye from Graycroft.
Yeah, hey Jason.
Aaron, I think you already know that I'm a fan. So
yeah.
Half of this question is a little bit of a leading question, but half of it also to learn a little bit more. So can you talk a little bit more about the interactivity that can happen outside of the specific SocialSamba experience? What I'm getting at is, I think it's if there's any ability to break the wall between your experience and their sort of real world interactions with social media.
Yeah.
I know about one that you told me about. Are there others?
Yeah, sure. So, and the one you're alluding to, with Teen Wolf the Hunt, at one point in the story, one of the characters comes to you and says, hey, something big is going to happen tonight. I need your cell phone number. If you give it to me, I'm going to send you a text. Okay, so a lot of fans tried it. Guess what? 3 hours later, Twitter blew up because all these fans were suddenly getting tweets from these characters saying, oh my God, here's what's happening, right? And so that ability for us to connect these stories into what we would consider our sort of real world is really interesting to us, and we're starting to see more and more of that. Let me give you one more quick example. I keep going back to James Bond. You can tell I like James Bond, but imagine I checked in at a Starbucks around the corner, and then James came to me and said, hey, Aaron, saw you were at the Starbucks, heard that the terrorist was there 20 minutes ago. Heard that he left the bomb in the bathroom. Go in and defuse it. You go check into that Starbucks, you go in the bathroom, you hold up your phone, you've got AR, and you see the bomb sitting there on the sink. Right? Alternate reality. So that ability for us to not just have you engaging with the characters in their world, but have the characters suddenly engaging in your world is a next big step for us from a storytelling perspective. And our customers are really excited about that. And with a platform like ours, which is all based around scripting, all based around the engagement that you get with these characters, we're excited to be heading in that direction.
I think you've also excited the FBI with that last one. Don't try that one. That
just
would be bad.
between us.
We're out of time. I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to give the minute warning. You have there's a 30-minute break.
We're going to reduce the break.
Good. That's 20 minutes. So we are reassembling at what time? What you give us the time? 2:30. 2:30. We begin. For 3 other companies. You're going to want to hear them. Okay, everybody. We're going to start the second half. We've got 3 equally fascinating companies, 3 equally fascinating speakers to talk to hear from, and for you to ask questions to. Just a reminder, in the Q&A part, we are trying to get, I'm frankly really encouraged by how many questions we're getting and how good those questions are. So that's great. So just think about it. I'll encourage all of the presenters to try to answer the questions really fast so we can get to more of them even. But they're great questions, and one piece of feedback I got from a lot of people is these questions are really good. I'm really glad we've left time for this. So let's continue with that. And Daniel Odio from Socialize is next. You're really going to enjoy this.
Thank you so much. All right. Got a little caffeine in the break. We're all ready to rock and roll, right? Another 3 awesome companies. We're really happy to be here. I'm Daniel. I'm the CEO of Socialize. I'd also like to point out my co-founders. Isaac is right here, and Sean is right here. So as I'm doing the pitch today, you're going to get really excited. Feel free to turn to either of them and just tell them about what a fantastic job they're doing. So I've got an incredible mobile marketing platform to share with you today. Our company is called Socialize. But before I dive into the solution, let's kind of frame the problem here. So I think we all get that mobile is an important distribution channel, but the reality is that this device is my digital persona. This is my connection to the world. This is not a second screen. This is the brains of how I connect to everything digital. And the reality is that companies that understand how to engage me and connect with me through this device are going to win over companies that don't. And so let's look into what that means. What does engaging me mean? Well, here's the funnel about how a company like Turner might want to engage a user. First, you have to get downloads. If you don't have downloads, if you don't have your app on the user's device, you're at 0. But it gets a little worse than that. In order to actually go down the funnel here, you need engagement. You need the user to actually open that app. And how many apps do we all have on our phones that we never open? Engagement is already a problem today, but guess what? It's going to get a lot worse. Mobile downloads are skyrocketing from 2 billion in 2008 to 98 billion in just a couple of years. There's going to be a lot more noise and a lot more companies understanding that they have to engage users through this mobile channel. And then, even if you get the user to start using the app, you have to have intelligence about those users. There's no third-party data in mobile apps. There's no cookies. It's very hard to know about these users in mobile. So to be able to monetize, you need to successfully complete all of these steps. That's the problem. Now, coincidentally, it just so happens that CMO's budgets are going to be outpacing IT budgets over the next couple of years. So we have this big problem where we need to be able to connect and engage with users. And on the other hand, we have CMOs that are starting to spend a lot more in marketing. If only there was a company, a startup, that could help these CMOs spend their expanding budgets. And it's not just me saying this. I took a little poll of an anonymous media company. We'll call it Company X. Maybe we'll call it Company T to change the variable here. So I just informally polled everybody that I've been working with, and 0% of the people that answered my question, are you satisfied with mobile user engagement, said that they were satisfied. Nobody said that they were satisfied with current levels of mobile engagement. And very few said that they were satisfied about the intelligence they had. On the flip side, a significant majority said that this company T is going to be spending a significant budget in mobile and also monetizing users via mobile in the next 5 years. So again, if only there was a startup that could help solve this problem and help these CMOs spend their expanding budgets. Well, there is, I'm happy to say. The company is called Socialize. So let's tell you how we're doing it. We've created drop-in social infrastructure that can make any piece of content social. Now, what I mean by that is, think about what Instagram did as an app. They allowed users to take social actions around photos. What Instagram did as an app, we are offering as a platform. We are allowing a publisher to make any piece of content social. So a user can comment, like, and share any piece of content so that the publisher can easily access the open graph. The way that we've done it is through a social API. Now, this allows content on any IP-connected device to be made social. And by that I mean a Roku box, a computer browser, a gaming console. But we've specifically started with mobile, with open source iOS and Android SDKs, so that it's very easy to just drop Socialize into an app and make it social. Now, let me go into a bit of detail here. The first step is to drive engagement by making the app social. Now, I'm talking about the interest graph. I'm not talking about the social graph. I'm saying, imagine, you guys, we're all users of one app. We've all downloaded the same app. Now, I want you to do a little experiment with me. Cover your mouths. Come on. This is what it's like to be a user inside of the app. You too, guys. Cover your mouth. Okay. You can't talk to any of the other users in the app, but it gets worse. Cover your eyes. You don't even know who the other users of the app are. We've all downloaded an app. We're not all friends. We'll never all be friends. But we have one common interest, which is the content of that app. And Socialize allows us to turn the lights on inside the app and make the content of that app social. So that's step number one, and that really boosts engagement. Step number two is to propagate those social actions out to Facebook, out to Twitter. But importantly, philosophically, social doesn't start with Facebook. It starts with your content and your users. You should own social. Giving social to a platform like that is like IBM giving up the operating system to Microsoft in the 80s. It's a big mistake. And step number three is to then be able to get intelligence about users through those social actions. So let me show you how the system works with actual examples. Now, where's Scott? Scott, okay, so Scott, you are the VP of Technology for Turner Sports. Let's just take, I don't know, the NCAA app, for example. Now, in the NCAA app, we'll pick a college team, maybe Oklahoma. Do fans of Oklahoma, are they passionate fans? They are passionate. And can they talk to each other today inside the NCAA app? Do they even know who the other Oklahoma fans are? No, they don't. This sounds like a really big problem. Luckily, we have a solution for you, Scott. In fact, Scott's been our mentor. He's been fantastic. So what we did is we literally in hours, not days, not weeks, in hours, we dropped Socialize into the NCAA app. We are prototyping with this app. A couple of us have it on our phones. The founders do, Scott does, a few others have it on their phones. You can actually see it live and working today. So we made this piece of content social. Now, everybody who has commented around this piece of content or interacted with it, they're not friends, but they all care about that piece of content. That's what binds them together. Let's take another example, CNN Money. So Margaret, you are the senior product director for CNN Money. And you have a very sophisticated audience, a very sophisticated user base, right? And wouldn't you say that if they could interact with each other around your content, that they would come to the app more to use the app? Well, that's great to hear, because also we've prototyped Socialize with CNN Money. So you can see here that they're not using the bar. They're using a button. So here, we're making these pieces of content social with a button instead of a bar. But not only that, we've also defined with Socialize, every stock is what we call an entity, a piece of content that we're making social. So now users can start socializing around different stocks. And in fact, Socialize is very flexible. So for example, in an app, each photo could be social. This is being powered by Socialize. This is a joke app where we've made each joke social. You can see that they're using their own custom icons. People are socializing around the jokes. In this True TV, World's Dumbest App, which is an awesome app, recommend that you check it out, they've made each article social. And the experience for the user is to be able to have these interactions with other users, to be able to subscribe for notifications so that if somebody else takes a social action, I get a push notification letting me know that I should go back to the app to see what they wrote. Also, when I take an action, I'm taking it inside of the app, but I can extend that out to Facebook. I can extend that out to Twitter. So in this way, we're wrapping social around the content, around the publisher's content, with the users who are not friends, but all want to socialize around content. And then when I do take this social action, and it does go out to Facebook, we create a unique tracking link so that my social action around a specific piece of content creates a web page. If I were to click on this tweet as somebody who doesn't have the app, this is what we call our smart download system. This allows somebody who doesn't have the app to see what this user said, different ways to download the app, other users that also have the app. So whereas today there's no way to even have a conversation inside of apps, what we're doing is we're tying the mobile and the web worlds together. So on a desktop browser, I can discover these apps, and we're using the users as the passionate marketers to drive downloads, to drive engagement, but also to drive intelligence. So here is what our app intelligence dashboard looks like from Turner's perspective. Now, as the publisher, I can start learning about the actions that are being taken in the app. I can start learning about these users. I can see who are the most active users, and I can click on a specific user, and I can see Socialize has scored this user so that I know as the publisher how valuable this user is as compared to all the other users. This is not something that you can do today inside of mobile apps. And not only that, but I'm able to start micro-targeting specific users. So this user, Daniel, very valuable user inside the CNN Money app. As the publisher, I can send him a micro-targeted push notification. We call it a smart alert. Or maybe I want to send it to the most valuable users in the app. Or maybe I want to send it to the users that haven't engaged recently, or those that are in a certain location, or those that are the least active. I can micro-target, and because we built this programmatically, it's powered by a partner API, nobody has to log in to do this. We can create rule sets so that it happens automatically. So this is awesome. This is really, really cool. And in terms of pricing, we have different tiers of pricing. I'm happy to say that Turner is going to be our first enterprise client, so thank you, MediaCamp. Thank you, Turner, for that. It's very exciting for us. We have seen a lot of growth. So we're growing 50% monthly in terms of unique users. Over 465 apps that are live on Socialize already. Guys, there's no vaporware here. Okay, this is live in the market today, and it's working. You can drop Socialize into these apps today. So with that, I'd like to just tell you a bit about the company. There's 6 of us. We've got some great investors. Some of you are here today, so thank you. Some great advisors. We're going to be going out for a Series A, 4th quarter of this year. Love to talk to you a bit more about that if you're interested. So thank you. Isaac, Sean, coming up for questions.
Okay. You're all coming. Good. All right. Actually, one of you hold on to this to answer that, because he has the mic.
You probably have a question.
Ryan.
Of course I have a question. So this sounds great for, each of the different networks or shows, but if I'm a consumer, why do I want to download an NCAA app and, an app for each individual TV show or even network? It just seems sort of non-intuitive to have dozens of different TV apps, because it seems like where you're going is these guys own each of the individual apps.
I think you're just basically I think you're underlining the problem that everyone has, and it's exactly what we're trying to solve. What we're doing is we're making it so that everyone, your Twitter friends, your followers, your Facebook friends, your followers, email, SMS, all that kind of stuff gets propagated to by one specific user. So I get the NCAA app. I go in and I like something. That like gets pushed out to 3,000 to 5,000 people, which is really important, and I'd love to demo this to you guys when you walk up to me after the event. But we send out a notification that goes to the web. That hits many people serendipitously and has a large amount of exposure. That click, and you won't see this in a lot of apps today, surprisingly, that click will open or ask you to download that app so you can get engaged. So right now, for instance, with the LinkedIn app, you get a notification that says, hey, someone just invited you or wants to connect to you on LinkedIn. You click that, it opens the app. It doesn't bring you to their content. It doesn't bring you to the experience. It doesn't tell you who you're connecting to. Even the BBC or the Bloomberg apps, none of them open to the content. What we're doing is we're giving people like Turner, who already has a fan base, the ability to have their fan base say, I like this article, and have someone not only download it just to see what's going on, but automatically open them to that content to give them the possibility to create more actions to get more interest. That's known as the viral loop. And for what we did is we built a platform that facilitates that and makes it possible. So basically, why does Facebook work? Why does Instagram work? Why does SocialCam work? Why do all these things work? Because the network effect drives those experiences to content. And we're a platform to help that.
And I've just been demoing some of the things that Sean is talking about. You saw that I shared, or I liked a piece of content inside the CNN Money app. Here is the Facebook wall post of my like. That opens up to a page that has tracking information so that CNN Money can tie it back to me. Not all users are created equal. Some users are more valuable than others. We want the publisher to understand who are the influencers inside of their app. How do they get a high ROI by marketing to those people? And then, like Sean said, we know that the user already has the app. We allow, through the web, the user to deep link right back into the piece of content. So these are things that are very difficult to do that we've figured out how to do, and that's part of this loop where we drive the monetization through those download engagement and intelligence pieces. Other questions?
Can you be a little more specific about the insights that I as a brand have about the users who have downloaded my app? And also, can you tell us about how this is only available through you guys? And can you also tell me a little bit more specifically about how I can target how I can segment and then target all the myriad ways that we can do that. I happen to know the answer to both those questions, but you're welcome.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Okay. Go ahead. You want to show? So we have a socialized score, which ranks people against other users in the app. So out of a possible 100, based on how many action you've taken, how many things you viewed, when was the last time you viewed it, things that you've commented on, things that you liked, your participation level. We take all those pieces of information and make a score relative benchmark against your other users. So you can say, my number 1 user has a score of 67 compared to my 10th user with a score of 50. So that's one. We also let you order things by and target people by specific actions. So I want to see my chatters. I want to see the people who are voyeurs that aren't participating yet. So getting into those abilities to drill down based on those touch points and how they interact is the way that you find the whales that are involved, or whales for your specific mission. The micro-targeting that he talked about, like smart alerts, is the way to actually target them. So you can take the group of the 50 people or the 100 people that are your top 10% scoring people or the top 10% viewers and say, I'm going to have an article that they all loved the article we showed last week. So MTV VJs, where are they now? That's a great story. People love that. Well, I'm going to do another. It went so well I couldn't believe it. I'm going to tell that same story in a different way 2 weeks from now. I want to make sure those people who loved that article and commented on it are notified of the new thing. So we target people who talked about this entity. Let's send a smart alert and say, hey, you like the VJ stuff? Let me tell you about the VJs that are coming out next season. Target them. They click it, it opens the app to the VJ section. So it's that, you have to really think of Socialize as a complete cycle that starts with some piece of content, hits people, asks them to come back, takes them the right piece of content, and have those people create new actions to create that loop starting over. So,
and by the way, this is a really big deal to big publishers that have millions of downloads and are starting to feel like they're spamming their users by sending a push out to all the entire user base. So with micro-targeting, we put context around push. Other questions?
We actually have time for one more question. So,
yep.
Where was it?
Back over here.
Oh,
It could be anything. It could be, how's Isaac's new kid doing? It could be that. You could be.
How's Isaac's new kid? No.
Fantastic.
So my question is kind of around economics. Maybe you covered this and I just missed it, but do you, almost a two-part question, do you rely on having more apps using your service for you to be able to have great economics? And if so, how does that tie back to the point that you made earlier about, hey, there's going to be this proliferation of apps, and I think we had the question earlier that, hey, people are sort of tired of downloading and installing a bunch of apps. It seems like those two things sort of work against each other. Right? The user marketplace is sort of saying we want fewer apps. You want them to have more apps. Do you need more apps to have a better business, or?
Where are you getting the data that, I mean, the people are getting tired? Are you hearing people talking about how they think they're getting tired? Or are you looking at the statistics where when 2007, where iPhone was a fad, it's now 10x or more of what it was then? The fact of the matter is, Facebook specifically said the biggest mistake we made was not focusing on native apps. People are getting tired of maybe talking about how much they love it, but the fact of the matter is I have 30 or 40 apps on my phone. When I started with 4 3 years ago, everyone has an iPhone in this room. She's texting right now. I think everyone's on their phone constantly. And the fact of the matter is, I'm just kidding. I mean, I'm not trying to tag you, but I'm making the point of the fact that everyone is using it. I have an iPad, and iPad mini's coming out. There's more vertical devices. There's a TV. There's the Android. There's the Android tablet. Yeah, it might seem tiring, but so is driving to work every day in my car and wishing I was walking. The thing is, it's technology. It makes your life better. There's more access to it. There's more interesting things coming out. It's our job and your job as a network to make sure you make that inspiring and interesting, but it's not going to go away tomorrow.
And just to build on what Sean's saying, what we believe is that people are tired of a very lonely experience inside of apps, right? Where it's only about the content that's coming to me. It has to be perfect every time I open the app or I'll stop opening it. We want to unleash the communities that are hiding in every app, and not just in apps. We're just starting there, right? This is about wrapping social actions around content, around any type of content, so that we can improve the engagement rates around that, and having the publisher own that instead of having a different social platform own that.
Innovation is pushing it forward, not backing down.
We'll talk at a break. I'll share some data.
Sounds great. Okay.
Fair enough.
Thanks.
Thank you,
Thanks
guys.
for the question.
Thanks so much, guys. Give me 1 second.
Of course, the notion of going into an app and turning on the lights to see who else is in there is really horrifying. Michael Yoon from Showbucks is now going to talk to you about this fantastic idea, this great company he has. Go for it.
Okay. Hello, hi, welcome. My name is Michael Yun. I'm the founder and CEO of Showbucks. Okay, looks like they screw up my presentation. Good. At Showbucks, we are saving human interaction. Left? Okay. Okay. I started my career creating 3D games for movies like The Titanic, The Fifth Element. The last company I founded is Aptera. It's a speech application platform. We serve over 100 million calls per year for companies like Bank of America, Moviefone, movietickets.com. So if you ever call to order a movie ticket, you are talking to my software in English or Spanish. I studied aerospace engineering at UCLA, and back then many of our professors from JPL. So for extra credit, we design, Mars rovers for fun. Social games and social video are growing very quickly, but there's no face-to-face human interaction in these social apps. All it is sharing randomly or repetitive gameplay with computer-generated graphics. It's turning us into an army of clones. Showbucks bring face-to-face human interaction back to social apps by combining social video and social games. So here I'm introducing the world's first social video acting and word guessing app. You call it Act It Out. You pick a word, act it out on video, and then challenge your friends to watch your video and guess what you're acting. So we see how it works here.
Oh my God, Kenny's dead.
Act it out for 10 seconds. And now it's her turn to play.
This is an Asian action star.
Bringing face-to-face human interaction back to social apps.
My precious. Like a virgin.
So this is the first time they have the app. I just took my iPad to a cafe and just filmed them playing. They play back and forth for like 10 rounds. Isn't this more fun than sharing virtual ships, or more creative than tending your virtual farm? Everyone who download the app will invite 10 friends to play, and they will invite another 10 friends. So it's going to take off like a rocket. So one app would not save human interaction. We'll build a platform to launch a series of social video apps. Starting with social acting, we have social singing, social quiz, and many more to come, all using the same social video and social game engine. business model. For consumers, we offer a freemium model. So you can get 100 free works when you download the free app, and then you can buy premium work packs. For the pay app, you get more works, and you can also save the video. For brands can sponsor works of the day, kind of like Google AdSense. And they can run promotional campaigns, and they can curate the videos generated by the consumers. We provide the first native social video sponsorship platform for brands. So brands will sponsor the work on the left, consumers will act it out, and then they can share the video. It's an opt-in process on Facebook and other social networks. And brands can curate the videos. They can collect the best and funniest videos and maybe make a video montage out of it. And because these videos are seamlessly integrated with the consumer and the brand, their friends are more likely to watch the videos. We have recruited advisors, including Jan Brandt, who is the former Chief Marketing Officer of AOL, and Robin Wollner, who is a former Senior VP of CNET, as well as MC Hammer. And so we are launching our iPhone and iPad app in the coming month, and then follow with the Android apps. And Hammer will invite all his celebrity friends to play, and whenever they play, they're all on video. And then we'll launch our international version next year, as well as the additional social video apps. We are raising $500K via a convertible note. It's already 50% committed. Investor include the Chief Marketing Officer of AOL and Turner Broadcasting, and many angels. We'll use the funds to promote our first apps and develop more apps in the coming years coming days on our platform. So for me, it's important that social apps are about enhancing social interaction. So our goal is to save human interaction. Join the force today. And we are inviting people to join our private beta program. So for the first 100 people who like our Facebook page or join us on the Angel list, the first 100 people will be invited to our private beta. So thank you.
Questions?
So in the video, it looked like someone was holding the iPhone, so the other person could actually act it out.
Yes.
So can I play this game by myself, or do I need someone always holding the phone and recording me?
Depends on your acting style or the particular character, right? You can actually have you and your girlfriend act together, or you just act on it yourself. So it's very, very flexible. The first girl actually do it herself like that, but the other girl want to do kung fu. So that's why she has somebody holding it. So it's a family game, you can involve the whole family. Thank you.
Hello. It seems like sort of a video version of Draw Something, which after it came out kind of was the biggest hit and everybody forgot about it. How will you prevent that sort of one-hit wonder thing from happening?
Excellent question. There's a reason why Draw Something or any game that just involve computer graphics with no real human face-to-face interaction. Because graphics don't change, no emotion. Humans, when you watch your friend, your children, your sister, your mother play with them, it's a lot more fun. So you would continue to play with them because they change over time. They might feel different another day, have another creative idea. So human interaction is one value. As well, we have a platform for a series of apps.
So there's probably the potential to have a lot of humorous videos and probably some not so humorous, but are they going to be archived all for public consumption? So if you don't even want to play the game, you just want to watch people acting things out?
Right. So we after you watch a video, you can rate it 1 to 5 stars. So we have a Walk of Fame, and of course these are only the videos that you're willing to share. Walk of Fame, the funniest video, the best acting, or the videos for certain most popular works. So we have the Facebook page. It's basically for the top videos. Well, that would be a funny category as well, right? Right now, we let you record 10 seconds. Yes. We can go longer, but 10 seconds, it forces people to think about what they want to do and also limit the bandwidth we use.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great job. Got the chance to be one of several mentors for Chute. Ranveer Gujral will present it, and you should come up with some great questions for him, because Lord knows he's had to listen to 3,000 of my questions for the last 3 months. So,
thank you, Scott. I appreciate that. My name is Ranveer Gujral. I'm one of the co-founders of Chute. I'm here with my partner Greg Narain and a few people on our team as well. I'm here today to talk to you about the visual revolution. Ordinary folks like you and I are creating and sharing media content at an absolutely unprecedented rate. We have thousands of apps to choose from. Even regular apps have photo uploading and sharing these days. Over 11% of the photos ever taken in history were taken in just the last year. That's 375 billion photos for those of you keeping track at home. 300 million photos a day to Facebook, 5 million to Instagram. But what does that mean for businesses? What does that mean for us? How do I leverage the brand enthusiasm? How do I leverage the story on the street as it unfolds? Or the live event as it happens before our eyes? What if I want to moderate that stream, manage it, bring it out of my site? How do I leverage it? And of course, I amplify it if it's a message that suits my brand. And of course, how do I monetize? Right? This has all been really hard to do until now. Chute brings order to the chaos. Chute powers the relationship between brands and publishers and the photos and videos generated by their audiences. We do this with deep technology, as well as really easy to use applications that any editor or brand manager can log into and succeed with. So let me start with the technology, speaking of which. Let me start with the technology. So every single time developers build an application that has photo or video uploading in it, they completely reinvent the wheel. They spend over half their time dealing with infrastructure, servers, scaling, uploading, image processing, things that aren't even their core competency. This is insane. They all need the same thing, and they don't have to do it themselves. Chute ends this madness with our cloud platform. We offer photo and video infrastructure as a service, and we do it via our APIs, SDKs, and component libraries. So you can see this is pretty appealing. We have nearly 1,500 applications and websites on the platform today since launching at the beginning of the year. We're growing by over 60% a month. But what if that's not enough, right? What if you're a brand manager? What if you're a publisher and you're just not getting the IT resources that you want? That might be a familiar refrain for some of you. Well, we wanted to solve that. We built SlideShoot. SlideShoot helps brands and publishers capture, manage, and display photo and video content from anywhere to anywhere. This is about your audience interaction. So a shoot is like a repository of photos, right? Think about it like an album. I get photos from my audience or from the stream in the world. I can log in, I can manage it, moderate it, I can style it to look exactly how I want, grab a snippet of code, drop it onto my site like a YouTube video for a seamless embed. There are 4 primary ways to get photos from your audience to that shoot. The first is our uploader. So you guys have seen all over the internet that little browse button that helps you, that lets you access photos or files on your desktop and upload them. We're killing that. Here's an example. I'll show it to you in real life. This is Today.com, one of our customers, part of the NBC News family. So each week, the editor here says to her audience, upload your photos. She dropped Chute on the page with one line of code. That can be styled to look any way you want. Could be a button, could be a link. But here, if you click on it, you get our uploader. We've turned this page into an interactive experience. I can drag and drop photos and videos. I can log into my Facebook, Flickr, Picasa account. I'm on the web, and I can access my awesome Instagram library. That's amazing. It's been a tremendous success for them. What she does here is she gets hundreds of photos every single week. She picks her 6 or 7 or 8 favorites. She drops them on a page with a line of code. This whole gallery has been styled to look like the NBC content management system, but in fact, every single one of these photos is being served by Chute. On average, they get between 2 and 3 times the number of photos uploaded per post than they did with that little browse button that they used to have on the site. So we're driving new opportunities for engagement, new opportunities for monetization. Here's another engagement opportunity where we have voting on the gallery. You can click to vote on anything. We have other widgets that support what's happening, the interaction around those photo assets. Here's the tally of that vote. So you've seen the power of the uploader. The second way to get photos from your audience is via Instagram or Twitter, using a hashtag or tracking a specific username. This has been a runaway success. So you can see we're doing it on the wall here at Media Camp today, but here the Today Show is at South by Southwest. They created a unique hashtag. They actually had monitors set up where they were streaming in these photos live that people were taking on the spot, and they embedded it on their website as well. Here's Lucky Magazine, another one of our customers. They run these campaigns. This one's called Show Us Your Tips. It's about fingernail art. I show this to you not because I'm a connoisseur of the craft, though I respect its artistic integrity, but because they took the same content and they put it on their Facebook tab as well, behind a like wall, which is pretty smart. Highlights the portability of the Chute streams that we're managing for you. No programming, no photoshopping, no juggling multiple content management systems. It was easy, and it was instant. This is a really, really powerful way of storytelling. At the conventions, CNN, the Republican and Democratic conventions recently, CNN had their full staff on the ground. They had people like Pierce Morgan, John King, Wolf Blitzer, tweeting, Instagramming, sharing photos. They used Chute to pull that stream in from those CNN staff members and told a very unique story, a powerful mosaic that really resonated with the audience, because now I can see the behind the scenes, the backstage, what it was like to be there on the ground. This drove over 3.5 million impressions through the course, the few days that the conventions actually ran. Here is NBC at the Olympics. They used us to pull in the photos from the NBC Olympics and Olympics Today hashtags. They used it to create new galleries, new slideshows, new content that they wouldn't have otherwise been able to create and monetize. So, how many of you guys have been to a concert or a show in the past year? Any sort of musical event? How many of you took a picture while you were there? I'm just going to assume everybody. This is what we do. But for years, Live Nation, who is the world's largest operator of concerts and live events, has struggled with capturing that content that you and I are creating and leveraging it to tell a story of the great experiences that we're having at those concerts, at their venues, with their brand, until now. They own the Bamboozle Music Festival through one of their subsidiaries, which is House of Blues Entertainment. They're using us to pull in the live fan photo stream from Twitter and Instagram, as well as uploaded photos right here on the right, or my right, yeah. So the same exact photo stream is going to the Facebook page for Bamboozle as well. This has gone so well and driven incremental fan engagement that we're actually going to be powering the official fan photo experience for all 31 House of Blues and Fillmore venues around the country, not just on Facebook and on the website, but in the venue itself. So think about how cool of a fan experience that would be. Here's a brand using us, Javianas, which is a popular flip-flop maker. You can enter their photo contest by uploading your photos via our uploader or simply hashtagging a photo, Hot Summer Nights. Here are some of the entries. I personally think that little kid should win an all-expenses-paid trip to Carnival next year, which is what's on the line. So you've seen the power of the uploader and the hashtag. The third way to get content from your audience is email. TaylorMade did a campaign called Driver Love. You'd email photo@driverlove.com. The photo would come directly into the contest. You'd be entered. You can email back to confirm your entry, not just in the contest, but on the email marketing list, which is something that brand marketers really, really like. The fourth way would be through a native app integration, right? Using some of that technology that we discussed before. While before, it was a struggle to get people to engage, Chute is creating entirely new opportunities to drive interaction, to drive user acquisition, of course, to drive monetization. That's what's important. Since we launched SlideShoot in March, it's been a runaway success. We have 3 of the 5 largest news sites on the web, CNN, NBC News, and Huffington Post as customers. We have the 2 largest live event operators in the world using our platform. We have global brands like Puma, Havaianas, Gilt Group, agencies like Publicis, dozens more. Great publishing partners like Golf Digest, Lucky Magazine, TheKnot.com, and again, many, many more. Serving over 1 million images a day. We've grown by nearly 90% a month since the beginning of the year. A lot of you are probably in the audience trying to figure out how to leverage and invest in some of the great trends that I've talked about today, some of the big things that are happening in the world, right? The first is the visual revolution, the fact that we're creating content as we never have before. The second is the explosion app creation, right, which is also fostering that content creation. And of course, the infrastructure for the apps that's driving that content creation is increasingly being outsourced. Well, we're going to make the investment decision easy for you. We're going to power all of it. Chute will serve, process, or index every media file on the web. Thanks a lot for listening. But before I go, we raised our seed round in April of this year from some great investors. We were in Y Combinator in the winter 2012 class. Freestyle Capital, Salesforce.com, Battery Ventures, and US Venture Partners led that round. But we would love to talk to folks about our Series A, which will probably happen early next year. Thank you very much.
Questions? Well, all right.
Off the record, I'm sure, video has launched, and we will be announcing it soon.
Does it all have to be user-generated, or can you, for instance, just harness the power of an existing hashtag and pull that into your shoot?
It doesn't have to be user-generated. In fact, I mean, in the case of CNN, you could argue that wasn't actually user-generated content because those are all CNN staff members. When you leverage the API, we actually have a platform that can let you distribute video clips, spools of photos. CNN could be sending slideshows out all across the web using both our native technologies as well as our distribution methods on the web. So, thanks.
We're down a mic, so you just have to shout. But oh wait, is this coming?
Oh, it's wired.
Oh my God.
I can repeat questions as well.
Wow, I'm like a wire with a mic. So,
how far is that
where are
coming
you
from?
It's what? Oh yeah, you should. Good idea. That's why you're on the cutting edge.
This is the man behind Media Camp, ladies and gentlemen.
Who has a question?
Hello? Pretty sure I addressed everything, right?
You probably did.
Kicks. Are there any rights issues with hosting all these images from these different sources and users? Do they retain all their rights?
Yeah, so the uploader itself, actually you can customize. There's a screen. Once I choose the photos that I want to send to that publisher, I can actually, as a publisher, I can put in the specific terms and conditions. So I can say, I'm going to own the right to use this photo, second lien on your house, whatever else you actually put in there in terms of language. And then, with Instagram and Twitter, they're both partners of ours. We have very close dialogue. As long as we and our customers are respecting the terms of the API, which very much allow for the use of photos in this context, I think things are fine. Now, of course, we respect the MCA takedown notices as well. So if somebody doesn't want their image on a particular site, we take it down, Instagram takes it down, etc.
Questions? Topher. Okay, well, our panelists get to ask the 2 questions. Okay.
So with fatigue setting in on the developer side with the number of SDKs, how important is the adoption of your SDK on the developer side to the overall long-term success of Chute?
That's actually a really good question. So I think if you look at the universe of successful sort of developer and infrastructure service companies, the ones that we perhaps like to emulate, the Twilios of the world, Urban Airship, even SendGrid, what we found is that increasingly enterprises, they don't buy APIs. They buy package solutions. They buy SLAs and contracts. And so we realized very early on that the future for us in terms of being able to monetize be successful with large enterprises is packaging up that API in a way that's digestible. So, the vast majority of companies and brands that you saw on there, and the ones that pay us a lot of money, are using that package solution. Now, I do think the developer, so the long tail of the developer market is very, very important. One is, they contribute to our open source projects. They keep us on our toes. They're a great marketing vehicle. But if you look at an urban airship, they generate all their revenue from, a very small percentage of their enterprise customers that are buying more of a package solution, and they have enterprise salespeople.
I was just curious, quickly off the prior question regarding user-generated content. As a publisher, what sort of moderation do you have in the back end? Because obviously you don't want off-brand photos coming up there.
Yeah, no, it's very important. So there's a few layers. First of all, you can pre-moderate any photo stream. So you can log in, remove images that you want, check everything, it gets approved. You can actually add moderators who can help check that stream before things actually get published. We're actually going to be working on a human moderation service. So we'll actually be offering the moderation to some of our bigger and busier enterprise clients as an add-on. But at the same time, also, like Twitter and Instagram, for example, also have moderation, but they only do it after the fact, after an image gets flagged. So, there are certain brands out there where that's just not enough, right? They can't take the risk of something getting in. And Twitter gets a little slow in the middle of the night, so you get, things stay up there a little longer than they should.
Questions? When I started working with these guys, obviously media companies just take it for granted that you will have user-generated photos, that everybody wants to send pictures of stuff. I mean, at CNN, we've been playing in that world forever. The whole time I've been there, I've been at CNN for over 10 years. But what really shocked me was when the Chute guys sort of showed me what happens when they're in front of like a CMO who doesn't even believe this area applies to them. And and they even gave me, I don't know if this CMO felt this way, but they just showed me, they were going to meet with the BMW guys and said, look how many pictures were posted in the last 3 months of BMWs by users, and just present this wall of stunning photography and fun photography and everything, all evidence of how people wanted to self-identify as a BMW owner, or kind of represent themselves with the photography of BMW. And as a marketer, I would look at that and go, oh my God, why am I not instantly in this world? Not just as a gimmick or a thing that might be on my website, but as a way to really understand what's going on with my brand and how people love it and interact with it. So I think that this world is fascinating. And I know that when I had Ramveer come to Turner, I think he had 15 meetings and 15 different groups that I need to work with this. So pretty good.
Thanks everyone for your time today. On behalf of all the other media campers, this has been a great experience. Thank you, Turner. We've really enjoyed it and learned a lot. And certainly it's opened, very real and tangible business opportunities for us. So we very much appreciate that. Thank you.
Is there a slide here? There we go. Obviously, some great companies here, amazing companies. And we learned a lot in working with them as well. It challenges us, helps us get more innovative, and creates a level of discussion for us at Turner to start challenging our business in different ways that we can do things and monetizing and engaging with consumers. None of this happens on our own. We are part of an amazing ecosystem out here within the media space, and with all of you that are here as well. We have amazing partners with SwissNext, as well as all of our other partners that not only support us, but support our media campers and products and services and contacts and engagement and offering advice on a regular basis. And none of this happens without our team in San Francisco, the true heart of Media Camp. So I'd like to just have them come up and introduce themselves and have you talk to them during the break, during the cocktail hour as well. So David, Austin. Sandy Cound. Artie Merritt. Brian Satyanathan. Jeff Eddings. Pramod Pramyola. Where's Pramod? Amalia Miller. And this is the heart of the team. They're much smarter than I am. They work diligently every day, spend a lot of hours to get this stuff done, and I hope you see the fruits of their labors and get a chance to interact with not only us, but the companies the next couple of hours. Thanks so much.
So open drinks till 5. So enjoy yourselves. Have a good time. Thanks, everybody.